Okay, I'm just going to quickly cover how to import PayPal subscriptions from some other service into MemberPress. Now, this assumes you've already got the subscription numbers, which are the same as the profile IDs, the recurring profile IDs for your customers in PayPal. Hopefully your old service had some kind of export mechanism that has this data that you can pull out and put into these CSVs. Otherwise, you may have to dig around through PayPal to find it, which might not be ideal. I just wanted to quickly, I've already formatted this file here, I just wanted to quickly go through each column and kind of talk about what it is. So the username is the username of the user on your site. You can also use an email address here. If you change the header to email, then you could paste some emails down here. But for this, we're going to use the username. Product ID, this should be the membership ID in MemberPress. So let me see if I can pull up a membership on one of my test sites here. Okay, here's a testing membership that I have on one of my sites. You'll see the ID here in the post equals part of the URL. In this case, it's 626. So if I wanted to import somebody onto this membership, I would copy this 626 ID and paste that as the product ID here. For this tutorial, we're just going to leave these at some random values here, but that is where you'll find the product ID for your membership. The amount should be the amount the user actually paid. If you're importing and your membership has a different amount, that's okay. You want to use the amount that the user actually has already paid for the subscription. The amount and the total should be the same. If you're doing some taxes, then the total might be a little bit higher, but I'm not doing taxes in this import. Subscription number, again, this should be the profile, the recurring profile ID for the PayPal users. And this has to match exactly, otherwise your future recurring payments may not track properly. Actually, they will not track properly. The payment method, this should be the ID of the payment gateway that you've set up in MemberPress for PayPal. The ID is just on the payment page itself. You should be able to find it there. Period is how often the cycle occurs. So in this case, the period and the period type together make up the cycle. So this would be billed every 1 month. And period for years would be 1 years. So 1 months and 1 years. So I've got Don Juan here, who is a monthly subscriber, and this Can7RU is a yearly member. Status should pretty much always be active. Unless the user's canceled and you still want to import them for some reason, you could put canceled here or pending. And then created at should be the date the subscription was created. This should be the same date as the date of the first payment. The important part about the date columns here in these CSVs is you want to right click, so highlight this whole column and then right click on the column header, go to Format Cells, Custom, and you're going to want to type in right here in this type box, you're going to want to type year, 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 dash, month, month, dash, day, day, space, hours, hours, colon, minutes, minutes, colon, seconds, seconds. Hit OK. This date has to be in this format, otherwise it will not import into the database. Then you'll go File and Save As, and you want to make sure that you save this as a CSV. The CSV. If you're using a Mac or some other spreadsheet software, you want to save it as a Microsoft compatible CSV if it has that option. So that's it for the subscriptions file. And then here's the transactions file. Now, a subscription in MemberPress is just, basically think of it as a container that holds recurring payments. It's a way to manage recurring payments. And so first we import the subscriptions, and then we need to import at least the most recent payment for each of those subscriptions in order to get these users access on the site, because MemberPress is going to look at the transaction's expiration date here to determine if the user is still active and when they expire. So again, we have kind of the same columns here. Everything's pretty much the same up till this point. This is the transaction number. This should just be the PayPal transaction number that you have for this user's most recent payment. Status should be complete. And then you've got a created at date. These created at dates should pretty much be the same as these subscriptions created at dates, unless this subscription was created, a year ago, and you only want to import the last transaction. Then just use the created at date that the last transaction was created. In my case, they're both the same, and the expiration date in this one is a month later, and on this one it is a year later. You see it expires in 2018. So since this Can7RU user was yearly, I'm going to make sure that he expires a year from the date this transaction was created, and this guy's going to expire a month from the date this transaction was created. Again, we do need to format these cells in the year, month, day, space, hours, minutes, seconds format. And then you can go ahead and save it as a CSV file, and it will should import just fine. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, if you close a file, so I'm going to close this. Sure, I'll go ahead and save the changes. Yes, keep it in that format. Now I've closed my transaction CSV file. If I reopen it, Excel, in their infinite wisdom, will reformat these dates again, which can be quite annoying. So just know that if you do close the CSV file and reopen it, Excel will try to be really helpful and reformat these dates again. So you will have to come back into Format Cells, year, month, day, hours, colons, minutes, colons, seconds. And then you can save the file again, make whatever changes you need to it. But that's pretty much the gist of importing recurring subscriptions into PayPal. Now, if you have users who are not recurring payments but you still need to import them, do not import a subscription for them. They do not need a subscription. Just import a transaction for them. So let me find that transaction CSV file. So let's say this was my import. I'm going to import 2 recurring users, and I want to also import a non-recurring user at the same time. So let me just add a new user. We'll call him fake user. He's on our he's on a lifetime subscription. We'll say the ID is $7.89, and it's a 350-cent product. And let me go find some kind of PayPal ID to use here. Let's try this one here. Okay. And it's the same gateway. We're still using PayPal. And actually, whoops, I messed up here. Because this is not a recurring user, we don't want a subscription number. We're going to leave that blank. This is a one-time payment user, and we want to make sure he's not associated with a recurring subscription. These two are. This guy's not going to be. So again, I goofed there. That should not have had a value. I wanted a transaction number, so let me go grab one of those really quick. There we go. And I want to make sure the status is complete, and we'll say he signed up the same time this guy did, maybe a day earlier. Well, maybe a couple days earlier. We'll say he signed up on the 7th, and he needs to expire also on the 7th. So now I've got 2 recurring users that I'm going to import, and these guys are going to be on automatically recurring payments according to these PayPal profile ID numbers. And I've got this fake user guy who's going to be a one-time payment. And so in order to make sure he doesn't expire, I need to make sure this is set to 0000-00-00 space 00:00:00. This just means lifetime. So he's got access forever, basically. to this membership, I should say, to the membership of ID 789. So now we've got two payments here which belong to recurring profiles, and then we've got a lifetime payment here which is not recurring, so we leave this subnum column blank. And that's pretty much it. When you import this, MemberPress will create a one-time subscription for this user and give them access for a lifetime. And these two users will have their transactions imported, and they will expire on these dates here unless another recurring payment comes in which case that transaction would have a new future expires at date, and the user would continue having access until they either cancel their subscription or their payments fail or whatever, they lapse for whatever reason. Anyways, I apologize for the length of this video, but hopefully this will help those of you who may need to be moving PayPal subscriptions from some other service into MemberPress and trying to get them imported, both recurring and one-time payments. Now, what if you had a one-time payment that it wasn't lifetime, like maybe it was a one-time payment to give them access for a year? Well, to do that, you would just set an actual expiration date here, and that should be the date that they should expire on. Again, you'd leave this subnum column blank. Anyways, hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, please hit up our support and go ahead and ask away. I think it should have been covered pretty thoroughly here in the video. I guess the last thing I'll mention is these users do need to exist in WordPress first, and we do have a users importer, so you can import the users first if that needs to be the case. And then the order would go your user CSV first, then your recurring subscriptions CSV, and then lastly the transactions CSV. Again, hope this helps, and please reach out to us if you have any questions.